Hello, I'm Victoria Pafundi, and this is my community analysis of the downtown Orlando area. Orlando was first discovered in 1838. Settlers built the Fort Gatlin to protect themselves from the Seminole Native Americans. In 1846, the town was officially named Orlando, and by 1875, the town had a total of 85 people. Florida did not have modern air conditioning in most areas until well after World War II. In the 1960s, Walt Disney bought a large portion of Orlando and revealed his plans to open a theme park in the area. Although major interstates, such as I-4 and Florida Turnpike, were already developed in the area, most of the area was swampland. Other theme parks followed suit a few years after the first of the 4 Disney parks were developed. This created an influx of people coming to the Orlando area like never before. These parks brought new jobs and opportunities. With the schools, neighborhoods, and communities were created for the people of Orlando. As of 2014, it has been estimated that over 2 million people are now living in the Orlando area. This population does not include the students of the University of Central Florida, the third largest in the nation, and the many visitors from all over the world that come to Orlando throughout the year. In the analysis of the downtown Orlando area, there were many great structures to the community. There is a large and diverse population of different religious backgrounds. These places of worship provide the community with not only worship services, but also shelter for the homeless, volunteer projects, and services during emergencies like a hurricane. Orlando also has several food banks which provides foods to those in need at no cost. Additional analysis of the community also shows that Orlando has several after-school activity programs supported by the Parks and Recreational Department of Orlando for its community members. Transportation in downtown Orlando is given freely by its limo transportation services. There are also public bus transportation outside of downtown given at a low fare price. These areas of structure that benefit many members of the community. In the Orlando area, the percentage of those living below poverty level is 19.4%. This is well below the average of 14.7% living below poverty in the state of Florida. This means that much of the community is in need of making appropriate living wage. During the Windshield survey, it was noted that much of the food available downtown Orlando is high-priced fast food or convenience store food options. There are no farmers markets or local produce areas available to those who live downtown. This is necessary especially for those who do not have transportation to other areas. It was also noted that just outside of the downtown area, much of the sidewalks and side streets are littered with trash. There were few trash cans found available in these areas and almost no recycling bins. I believe that the structure of Orlando is adequate for its people, however, there can always be improvements. In the past 10 years, Orlando has done a lot to lower its homelessness population and provide its veterans with appropriate mental health. This shows that Orlando is making efforts to improve its community and will continue to do so. On analysis of the Orlando population, I did not find any issues. The population of Orlando is widely diverse, having a large community of Hispanics, African Americans, and other cultures. This creates a community with a lot of perspective and new ideas. Orlando also has a highly educated population, with majority of the community having some college background. The unemployment rate of Orlando is 2.9%, well below that of the 3.8% for the state of Florida. According to an article titled "City Planning and Population Health: A Global Challenge," a major issue in many city areas is non-communicable diseases and road trauma. This research is similar to that of Orlando's, as much of their health concerns are non-communicable diseases and road trauma. A major issue with large cities and large populations is that these cities expand, roadways become congested and dangerous with unexpected road work. Orlando is always expanding, and this has created a lot of unsettling road workways. In downtown Orlando, there are several hospitals which provide emergency services to those in need. There are also hospitals with specialty care, such as children's hospitals, orthopedic hospitals, and a women's hospital. In downtown, there are several doctor's offices that allow for new patients and walk-ins. There are multiple pharmacies and mental health services found in Orlando. The cost of health care can vary greatly depending on the patient's insurance and health concerns. There are a few notable urgent cares which provide services by way of a sliding scale. In research of the Orlando area, it was noted that some of the most communicable diseases were sexually transmitted. These diseases are easily avoided and can be done so by giving the community the education on how to protect themselves. Also provided a community with low-cost, anonymous testing can give those incentives to get tested and treated early. Like most urban areas, injuries while on the road are a health concern of Orlando. Orlando has a large population with many ever-changing roadways. This goal of preventing unintended injuries is to protect those on the roads. A third goal selected from Healthy People 2020 is to ensure access to mental health services and improve the quality of mental health care given. In many city areas, there is a larger homelessness population, and this often brings a need for mental health care services. The quality of mental health care is constantly changing and improving. Downtown Orlando provides its community with many beneficial resources. I was surprised to find an influx of many transportation services, job search opportunities, healthcare specialties, childcare, and education services. Although Orlando does have a homeless population problem, during my research I found that this issue is being addressed and has been steadily declining over the past 10 years. Orange County's major environmental issues are waterway pollution, over-fertilization, and solid waste management. Waterway pollution and over-fertilization go hand in hand. Over-fertilization of land causes fertilizer to run off into water systems. This over-fertilization causes an overgrowth of bacteria which kills the water system's natural ecosystems. Solid waste management is a notable environmental issue while walking around downtown Orlando. The sidewalks and streetways are littered with trash and there are few public trash cans available. The government of Orlando is part of the Orange County government. Events for Orange County can be easily accessed online. These meetings are held open to the public with political officials attending the meetings as well. Contact information to the Orange County political officials can also be found online. The country's budget is allocated for many aspects of the community, such as the fire department, economic development, and public works. The U.S. Census Bureau determined that Orlando is the #1 in the United States for job growth, and majority of their population is well educated with some college-level education. However, 19.4% of Orlando's population lives below the poverty level. The United States average for living below poverty is 14.7%. It is assumed that this means that the working class are not being paid livable wages for the Orlando area. This is concerning because people are not being properly compensated for their work, and this will drive people away from the area. It is more expensive to live in Orlando, and this should be considered when employees are paying their employees. The downtown Orlando area, with its dense homeless population, is in need of more quality mental health resources. Homelessness is often a symptom of some underlying mental health issue. If these people had the resources they need, they may be able to find a stable living situation. Health literacy is vitally important in these areas with a dense population. Some of the main communicable diseases I found in my research of Orlando was sexually transmitted diseases. These diseases can be easily avoided and medicated if the population understands what places them at risk. A large portion of Orlando is living below the poverty level, and this may aid to the fact that there is a large homeless population as well. Jobs that pay a livable wage is necessary in this community so those that work can have a stable home life. Orlando is an expensive area to live in, and if people are not being paid enough to live there, there needs to be affordable housing available to these families. Children do better in a stable home, and it is necessary to have this in this area. Most of the food places I visited in downtown Orlando were fast food chains or convenience stores. This is often an issue in large urban areas and needs to be addressed. If people do not have the transportation to shop outside of the city, they have limited options. Roadway traumas and accidents is a huge safety issue in the Orlando community. With a large population, these roadways need to be made safer for travelers and commuters.